Simon from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
You're on the air.
Hey, I love those Symphony of Science videos, by the way.
Good.
They're nice, aren't they?
One of the reasons I was calling is I watch the show a lot, and I notice a lot of people call in regarding issues of the nature of consciousness, and they often, it's like they're aware of kind of I guess what they call the hard problem of consciousness, like what David Chalmers, the philosopher, has kind of put forward as an argument. But they're always talking about in kind of like religious terms of spirits and souls. And I was just wondering if you're aware of that whole debate or in cognitive science about where quality comes from, if it's an emergent property, if it's an illusion.
A little bit. You know, one of the things that religions seem to like to do is they like to find a mystery and then spin it, give it a religious interpretation. And the notion of the brain, which is a very, very complex organ in our body, and the emergent property of consciousness, that's just ripe area for that sort of behavior, and I think that's what you're seeing there. So it's a God of the gaps idea. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that as we sort of learn more about the brain and how intricate and interesting it is what's going on in there. I think that sort of interpretation is going to persist for many, many years. So I think you're just seeing the beginning of it.
I think that's, the reason I kind of got motivated to call in is, callers calling in, we had two callers call in and talk about reincarnation. I think that's all part of the whole reason people can conceptualize that as even being a possibility is because there's this problem of, we can explain and possibly in absolute detail how the human brain works, but then we're still potentially left with the problem, potentially left with the problem of why the processes of perceiving color and things like that, perceiving light manifest as color. And like qualia and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of mysterious stuff there, right?
I think it's necessary to point out that, like Francis Crick and Steven Pinker, there are people on the other side of this debate that don't agree that this is a hard problem.
Right, and that's why I say potentially. Chalmers is saying it's a problem, and you got Dennett saying it's overblown, and it's actually probably a smoke and mirrors act of the brain. I was just wondering what you guys, if you have a position on that, or I know it's a question mark, but after reading quite a bit on qualia, I failed to see the problem. I just can't wrap my brain around why it's a problem. But there's other people that seem to get it. But I've read it, and to me it's just like, why is this confusing for somebody? I don't understand why it's a problem. So I tend to lean toward Crick and Pinker on that. Right. I can see it being kind of a problem as to, I can see how somebody can make the argument that a color can't be reduced to material components. But then again, it could just exist and doesn't necessarily need a justification, just like the universe.
I just see it as this is how the brain perceives light.
Right. Well, yeah, and then there's the whole philosophical. I don't want to tie the show up too much. I just was wondering what your position was on it, and just to say that I think a lot of callers are kind of getting sort of aware of that, but they're thinking about it in religious terms, like, oh, that's your spirit, that's your soul, or
sure.
Right. Anyway, well, thanks for taking the call.
Okay, Simon.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Julie, right?
Oops. Okay. Well, there are a lot of seemingly mysterious things, right? It's like our personalities persist over time, our identities persist over time.
Well, it's mysterious because neuroscience is new, considering in history. But what it has discovered already to me is just amazing and points to always, again and again, the brain. Mm-hmm. Everything ever successfully explained has been explained by a natural cause. Those things that are attributed to supernatural cause have not been explained. Mm-hmm. So so far there is natural causes or unexplained phenomenon. There is no supernatural explanation that has ever been verified.
Yep, I agree.